Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome
Walaikum
to the
salam.
first podcast of MuslimFin. In studio, we have Ali Sali, Saeed Abrams, and Siraj Buzik, all part of the MuslimFin team. Today's first podcast, we're going to look at a bit of background on MuslimFin, where they started, what they're about, and where they are heading into. There's been quite a bit of question marks on social media in relation to the background of MuslimFin. What are they? Are they offering services? Are they selling products? But tonight we are going to debug all of those questions, and the wonderful gentleman sitting in front of me is going to unpack those details or unpack those questions in further detail. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this conversation over to Ali Sali. I'll give you a quick background about Ali Sali. Ali Sali is a wealth manager. He not only has experience onshore, but offshore as well. And he has a wealth of financial experience in the financial background. So Ali, I'm going to hit it off with the first question. It's a fairly basic one. And I think all the viewers out there would like to know, why was MuslimFin started? Where did it come from? And why are we here today talking about MuslimFin?
Okay, well, shukran for the opportunity, Shamim, and I'm happy to be here and to be discussing MuslimFin with with the viewers. In terms of MuslimFin, so maybe I must start and just take it a little bit back and talk a bit about my history and introduce myself to the viewers. I initially started off my career in IT, and then I studied locally. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa, and got an opportunity. I studied at one of the local universities in Cape Town, the University of the Western Cape, where I initially pursued a degree in computer science. Now, this was obviously dating myself a bit here, but this was before before 2000. So in the 1990s, and what then happened was I got an opportunity to move to the US, but this was right before the dot-com bubble. So with the dot-com bubble, getting a job in IT at the time became quite difficult. There was a lot of dot-com businesses going under, and there was a bit of a slump in the the US economy at the time. So I got an opportunity to move to the US, but because it was hard to get a high-paying job in IT at the time, I then decided to change my major to finance. And I started working while I was studying with some of the biggest banks in the US, Comerica Bank, which was in Michigan. While I completed my degree, and I worked with them as a reporting analyst for a few years. Now, after I completed my degree in finance, I then decided to, because Michigan is a beautiful place, but it's cold, and it snows 6 months out of the year, and the summers are humid. So I then decided to move to Los Angeles, closer to the beaches, and I started working with Wells Fargo Bank, and I worked with them in the private banking space. I did that for about 6 years, and I got my stockbroking license in the US. Now, after being out of the country, out of South Africa for about 11 years, I missed family, and I missed home, and I missed the beautiful Table Mountain and the beaches here. And then I then decided to move back to be close to family, and I spent some time with some of the companies locally in South Africa. Through my different roles, I was working in South Africa for about 7 years or so, and then only after about 7 years I discovered Islamic banking, and then and finance, and I said, okay, look, I've heard about Islamic banking and finance, but I was never really exposed to it before. And so within some of the institutions that I was working for, I started to get exposed. I started to get exposure to the concept of Islamic finance, and then I said, okay, this is very interesting for me because this is what I do, but it also has the aspect of the deen to it. Just like, wow, this is almost a way of me providing a form of dawah to my clients, And I said, okay, this is exactly what this is something made for me, because I think a lot of us have the question. Well, I did have the question of, why am I put here? What does Allah want from me? What is it that I need to do? Or how can I give back to my community? And that was always something that I wanted to do. So with that, I then tried to learn as much as I can about Islamic finance and banking, and then I also decided to pursue some education in it. Complete my honors in Islamic banking and finance through one of the universities in South Africa, and then I started learning more. But in having conversations with clients, I found that there was a major disconnect between the between the product set that was available and the understanding of the subject matter between the clientele. And it was as basic as the understanding of what is interest, what is riba, what's the difference between interest and profit share. So very, very simple. And it wasn't always the clients that I was sitting in front of were people that were highly educated, masters in business, Muslim, been doing business for many years. But what I found was that they didn't necessarily have that basic understanding of the most basic concepts of Sharia banking and finance. So in saying that, I said, well, how do we bridge that gap? How do we do that? How do we bridge that gap? And the only way to bridge that gap was through education. And so what you end up doing is you can then say, okay, well, we could leave the education to the muftis, and we could leave the education to the imams in the masajids and in the classes. But the imams and the muftis, they have their own challenges. They also doing their hard work, and they are focused on saving the community and assisting the community, and they're doing so much other important work. So it's for us to then step up and say, okay, well, this is my field. I've studied this for 20 odd years. I need to use my expertise, my knowledge, my abilities, my skills, and I need to hone in on that and try to help as many people as possible. And that's really that's kind of where the idea of MuslimFin kind of came from. They say, okay, well, how do we then go about making this available to our local community in South Africa, in Cape Town, in all of the other major cities in South Africa and globally? So that's kind of where the idea stemmed from.
Perfect. It's quite interesting because we know there's quite a large gap between what's out there, the information, and the access of that information to the larger and broader Muslim community, not only in our own demographic, but around the world as well. There's one other question I wanted to ask you, Ali, before I move over to the other gentleman. When did MuslimFin start? Was it a few years ago? Was it recently? When did it start?
I think the idea was probably born now more than 4 years ago. I'm trying to keep track of it, but as you guys know, we meet on a regular basis, and there's so many things discussed, and so many things that's going on, all the hard work and effort that we all are putting into. But it was the idea was I guess developed about 4 years ago. Initially started off with just the concept around establishing a cell phone app to make it available to as many people as possible. It just then developed into a website. We also have social media platforms across all the different social media I guess networks or whatever you call it. So YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So we have the social media presence, we have the website, we are on currently on, we have articles, monthly articles in the Muslim Views, which is a local newspaper, Islamic newspaper in South Africa. And we have regular interactions with the local Islamic radio stations. So it's been a lot of work, a lot of interaction, a lot of growth. We still foresee that there's still a lot more work to do or to be done. But we're very excited. And I'm very excited about the journey. And so it's been about 4 years now, and quite happy with where we are at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, and it's good to know, because I think from the viewers on the outside, it's difficult to see actually when an organization like this started. It could have been a few weeks ago, it could have been a few months, but it's good to know that there's some history behind it, and to actually see where it has come to the current date. I'm just going to quickly move over to Siraj Buzik. I'm not going to give you too much about Siraj. I would like him to go into that background, but just a quick a sneak preview of Siraj. He's MuslimFin's resident Mufti, Islamic banking Mufti. On the panel, he not only studied in South Africa but overseas as well, and he has a specialized Islamic banking degree that was obtained outside South Africa in one of the Muslim countries overseas. But before I hand over to you, Siraj, I just want to ask you a couple of questions. Just a brief background about yourself, where you fit in the financial world, your background, and why you chose to join the MuslimFin team. Over to you, Siraj.
I think the title as resident mufti comes with quite a large responsibility. But for me, throughout my career, I think I've had the privilege of working in various roles within the financial sector. And I had a strong focus on Islamic banking and finance. So my journey began when I had the opportunity to study abroad in Indonesia. And that's, I guess, where I obtained my degree in Islamic economics, specializing in Islamic banking and finance. And then, just equipped with this educational foundation, I guess, I embarked on my professional journey as a financial advisor. And then over the course of 3 years, I honed my skills in financial planning, where I assisted clients in achieving the financial goals. So, with this experience, I think this laid the groundwork for my passion, really, for providing personal financial solutions, to individuals, both individuals and businesses. And then, just motivated by my desire to contribute really to the growth and the development of Islamic banking, I joined one of the Islamic banks, or the Islamic windows, as an Islamic banking consultant. And then in this role, my primary objective was really just to promote Islamic banking principles, and then just offer sharia-compliant banking solutions to clients. And then just through my expertise and guidance, I was able to enable individuals and organizations to really align their financial practices, with their religious beliefs. So I've done that for a while. And then as my career grown, I was seeking new challenges and opportunities. And I managed to transition to a commercial bank specializing in government funding for small businesses. And this role allowed me really to make tangible impact on entrepreneurial ecosystem by assisting small businesses in accessing the necessary financial resources, through the government, and contribute to economic growth. And I think with these roles, for some reason, I was recognized, for my expertise in managing high net worth clientele. And I was fortunate to be headhunted by one of the private banks in South Africa. We are worked as an analyst for about 4 years. And then just during this time, I managed a portfolio of, high-end or esteemed clients, just ensuring the financial interests were safeguarded, and the investments flourished. From an Islamic banking perspective, my journey then led to me joining another bank. We assumed the position of an Islamic banking product specialist. So in this role, I was really responsible for expanding the Islamic client base across various banking segments. And this included the retail, the private, and the commercial segment as well. Additionally, in that role, I played a pivotal role in training the frontline staff on the intricacies of Islamic banking offering. And it's just fostering a culture of excellence and providing outstanding service to our valued clients. So it's really just driven by this desire to contribute to the overall success of the commercial operations, I subsequently promoted to the commercial operations team. I was working primarily with the commercial business segment, and I've really dedicated myself to streamlining the processes and enhancing operational efficiency, ultimately ensuring a seamless banking experience for our commercial clients. So, as I continue to progress in my career, I think my dedication to Islamic banking principles, coupled with my diverse experience, I guess, positions me a valuable asset in shaping the future of the industry. I'm really committed to making a lasting impact by fostering innovation, promoting ethical financial practices, and just empowering individuals and businesses to achieve their financial aspirations.
Perfect. And just one other question, which I added at the end. So, what was your true calling to MuslimFin? What is the main reason that you joined MuslimFin?
I was actually introduced to MuslimFin by Ali. He approached me and he said he's busy with a project. He spoke to me about it. He asked me what's my view on it, and I was quite interested. It's something that I wanted to do for some time. Create something where we could give back to the community or be able to assist the community from an Islamic banking perspective. But for some reason, I just never got to start something or to do something. And I know Ali since my early days in my career. So we've come a long way. So when he introduced this to me, I was quite eager to join, just to understand and see where I could add value and get this project off the ground.
Good. That's quite interesting, Siraj. As you can see, that's the reason why he's the Mufti of the MuslimFin team, with the vast experience and knowledge that he has. And I think the MuslimFin team is quite honored to have him on board with a wealth of experience, not only from the conventional finance side, but the Islamic and financial aspect of the Islamic banking side. So there's one other thing that we've also picked up on the MuslimFin's journey, was that they started their social media journey, I think last year, July 2022. And the key person behind managing that social media platforms is Zaid Abramson. He's quite advanced in the work that he does. He's a marketing specialist, and he has a wealth of experience in that field. And since the social media journey started for MuslimFin in 2022, the one thing that you can imagine, speaking finance to people is not the easiest thing. Speaking Islamic finance to people is even an increasingly difficult task. And having personally looked at the numbers across all their platforms and the growth, it's quite staggering to see the immense journey that they've taken on since July 2022. I'm going to hand you over to Zaid, but before we do that, Zaid, again, following the traditional theme that we started off with Ali, just a brief background about yourself and where you fit in the MuslimFin team. That's question number one. And number two, just to take us through that journey of the social media platforms. Although there are guys within the team that manages certain pages, you oversee the overall marketing aspect of MuslimFin. So just a brief background about yourself and some details into the social media platforms and the general marketing of MuslimFin.
Shukran, Shamim. So basically, wow, it's a year. I mean, it feels like just a few months that Ali also brought me aboard this wonderful journey. Well, I can't believe it's a year, but what a wonderful year it has been thus far. Lots of challenges, but good challenges. So yeah, it's a little bit of background about myself. I mean, I was, in the early 90s, I've obviously finished high school, then I did the whole IT thing, because thinking, that's the best thing to go into, because IT is the way, it is the way to go these days. But I surely just ended up being more on the sales side of things, and, became an account manager, became a client solutions manager. But then as the years grew, I evolved myself, knowing that digital and mobile marketing is actually one of the very biggest things that's going to be happening in the future, and currently is happening. So if you look at it, I basically have close to 27 years of sales experience. I'm just over 15 years of mobile and digital experience as well. I did my diploma through Shaw Academy for digital marketing, and obviously did quite a few individual courses here and there just to keep myself on par with how things gets progressed on the marketing side of things. Yes, it's been quite challenging. I haven't actually had a challenge like this before, with regarding getting the name out there for MuslimFin. As Shamim, you just mentioned, now the whole finance, and on top of it being Islamic finance, it's a very sensitive topic. So so as we go, we learn. We made horrible mistakes. We did good turns. We did all these different kind of approaches, and we've learned quite a bit. We've tried. We obviously on all the social media platforms, like Ali mentioned. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And with that said, each approach on each platform is different. Again, we tried the same paintbrush across all the board. We found it didn't work. Then we've tried the different marketing strategies on the various platforms. They say, okay, cool, yeah, we're getting some sort of traction on the social media platform. So because there's very few people doing what we're currently doing, so we're kind of writing the book as to how to get things going on a social media platforms, as well as our online presence, which is our website, which is something that we also, unfortunately, Nawaz couldn't join us this evening, but it's something that we are trying to improve, that people will come back to our website, be interactive on it, kind of do things on the website. Things that we want to include is things like calculators, like inheritance calculator, car calculator, finance from a home loan side of things, vehicle finance, etc. I mean, the guys from the banking side, Ali and Shamim and Siraj, I mean, you guys have been great regarding providing us with the background, the inner workings. I mean, from a year to now, I'm not saying that I can become a banker, but I have learned so much from these guys. I actually had to wrap myself around my knuckles, because I'm like, okay, I'm not nowhere near what. I mean, I'm obviously moved since then, but at the beginning, I was like quite ashamed to where I was on my own personal banking side of things, not knowing that there are these products out there that can fit us Muslims and non-Muslims. On the Sharia side of banking, I mean, opening up your bank account, doing your home loan through a Sharia-compliant banking type of thing. So yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant journey I'm on with these guys. I'm learning every single day. Mufti, Siraj, Ali, the banking expert, Shamim, the banking expert. I mean, you guys are giving me so much, information, and sometimes it is a bit of an overload. To think that there are all these things out there, and the nice thing about this is, and that's where MuslimFin is going to, is kind of like you said, is going to close that gap, because I took it upon myself to be the person that didn't know what's going on, and then MuslimFin came along and said, but listen here, there is a Sharia a bank account that you can open, there is a vehicle finance option, etc., etc. So what I can see MuslimFin is trying to achieve is going to be gratefully helpful to everybody out there, because it's going to be a platform where the end users are going to come along and say, listen, yeah, I can educate myself on Sharia banking and finance, and that is the I think the biggest ace we have up our sleeve as to what MuslimFin can offer.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the detailed information, Zahid. I think we have about 5 or 6 minutes left on the session. There's one question that I want to specifically ask you, Zahid, and I think you touched on it a little bit in your discussion now, was that with your background being the tech/IT and marketing background, obviously finance and Islamic finance is not something that's on your speciality or your pages of speciality. And that's where this question is probably the perfect for a person like you. Given your start to MuslimFin, and I guess you can probably speak to this on your behalf and speak to many other people outside of MuslimFin, what is the biggest challenge out there for just the normal man on the street getting access to this type of information?
Okay, so the access to the information would be become quite easy because there is the platform like MuslimFin. But I think that the biggest issue that from a layman's person, for somebody like myself that just stepped into MuslimFin, or not even into MuslimFin, but it is knowing about these type of products that's out there. You know, again, we are very quick. We want a home loan because we want that house like tomorrow. You know, we want a vehicle, the same thing. You know, we'll bend backwards to get a vehicle finance. We'll bend backwards to get a home loan, and not realizing that it's not the way we should be doing it by doing it the conventional type as a Muslim. So I think the more the people know out there that there are products available to us that we can use to do a bank account, to do a home loan, do a vehicle finance, etc., then our platform just becomes more powerful because we will direct or at least educate the people on which what is available at the time. Because again, you know, for me, it's like I want a credit card, like a bank with Nedbank. Let me open up a credit card. Like, you know, that's it. It's not like what kind of credit cards do I have? Options are there to me, because we don't know that there's like a, okay, maybe credit card is a bad example, but like say a loan as an example, or a bond or whatever. We don't ask for the Sharia because we do not know about those products that's available. And I think what I've learned and understood from you guys that it's a growing thing in South Africa. We are growing every single day, and banks are coming on board providing these Sharia compliant products.
Perfect, Said. And again, I think that's one of the biggest challenges out there, is that the services and the products are there. It's starting to grow and it's becoming more accessible and available to everybody out there. But it's that bridge between the individuals out there and the products and services that's available to them. And from what you guys are doing, you guys are trying to build that bridge to connect the products and services together with the knowledge to those users out there. I think we have about a couple of minutes left. I just want to thank you guys for giving us some kind of intro into MuslimFin. This was only podcast one, hopefully podcast one of many more podcasts. We are going to deep dive into so many other topics in the Islamic financial banner, together with the traditional side, and hopefully we can answer more and more questions that's out there and take it further into a bit more detail. Please don't forget to like, share, and comment. And if you found this video valuable, please don't hesitate to subscribe and share it out there to many other users out there that could find value in this topic that we've discussed. So that's it from me and the team at MuslimFin. Assalamu alaikum, and have a good day, have a good evening, and we hope to see you for podcast number 2 and for many of the other podcasts in the future. So.
Alaikum salam.